Welcome to Real Talk Fins Talk. I'm your host, Steve Malloy, and joining me tonight, my best buddy, Rob Mosley, aka Dolphin Thirsty. How you doing, Rob?
Can't complain. Another good day here in South Florida. Had a little bit of rain, but can't complain. South Florida teams are doing well. We just need our Dolphins to step up now and do their thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me what you got going on at Dolphins Chatter and DolphinThirsty.com.
Dolphins Chatter is the name of my YouTube show that I'm doing on my Dolphins Thirsty YouTube channel, DolphinThirsty.com. All good things. Dropped another trivia today in the middle of in an hour or so after this show. I'm going to have a good report on the OTAs that are taking place and good stuff like that on Dolphins Thirsty. So thank you so much. And fins up to you, Steve, for letting me talk about Dolphins Thirsty, something I love.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And everybody that's joined the chat tonight, thank you for joining. Appreciate you all. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, your families, your neighbors. We always love you guys when you're in here. And tonight, we're going to have a special treat for you all. But first, before we get started, remember, we may not always agree everything Dolphins, but there's one thing we can agree on. We are all Dolphins. So as I said, tonight we're going to have a special treat for folks out there, the Dolphins. You're going to be able to join us tonight. I think our producer has dropped a link for you all. So if you want to join us and step up and talk about anything Dolphins, the OTAs, anything you want to, we're here to listen and listen to you. You have a voice tonight on this show, and please step up and join us tonight and talk about Dolphins. So, Rob, what do you think about the OTAs, man? What have you heard anything? What's going on? Good, bad,
nothing
ugly?
That any of us other fans haven't heard, but I know the orange jerseys was just kind of a cool thing, that McDaniel introduced last year, where the best player from the previous practice, whoever the coaches agree on, they get to wear an orange jersey. And so far, the 2 days, one Jalen Waddle day, and today was Duke Riley. What's cool about that, they get to play their music. It's a little more laid back than the rigors of the training camp where everyone's like cutthroat, ready to win their jobs. It's, just kind of getting the feel out as a team. So it's kind of cool. And then McDaniel spoke today. We can touch on that later. He didn't really say a lot of stuff, but did touch on Tua and a couple of our injured defensive backs about their status moving forward. He said they're working really hard, just like you said, you pointed it out in a tweet earlier today. He said the same thing about Byron Jones last year, but hopefully Brandon Jones and Needham are there farther along. So let's hope for that. So, he says they're working diligently. So that's what he said during that. He mentioned the Tua and the judo or the jiu-jitsu, whatever the official language, martial arts. So I just, that way it's a blanket cup. He mentioned that. And, basically, he said he added a win to the roster by signing Isaiah Wynn. He likes to add wins to the roster. So he had this good humor in there. But really nothing earth-shattering coming out, during these OTAs. They're going to play it close to the vets. The beat writers are told they can't even say to who's lining up as a starter, who's lining up as a backup. So it's, it's all good.
Yeah.
Albert has a good point.
Yeah, Albert does have a good point. He says, I think the actual Audrey Miller signing is going to work really well. I watched his college tape and he gets he took it out.
He gets more comfortable and
instruction. He gets to be a Pro Bowler in 3 years. Well, we'll see about the Pro Bowler part. But I did hear some good things about Audrey Miller about training camp today. I was watching a show, and the person that I was listening to got some actual information that with 2 or 3 of the Dolphins that were actually at the practices, and Audrey Miller did stand out today. He looks kind of small, but believe it or not, he's listed at 5'11", 227, and David Long is listed about the same size, but he actually looks bigger than David Long. And that's another one that stood out today. Not only Audrey Miller, who was one of our undrafted free agents, but also David Long. Omar Kelly actually had in his article, I believe it was, that he was looking good. He's fast off the trigger. He flies around out on that field, and he has some good range on pass coverage. So that's good to hear about David Long. I knew he was probably our best linebacker in the team right now. That's my opinion. The only issue I have with David Long, as we all know, he has an injury history, and guys, linebackers that are that small, they take a lot of pounding, and so that's one of the reasons why a guy like that gets hurt. You know, he's just small, and he's taking a lot of pounding as a linebacker. So, but it's a good thing to hear about David Long and Audrey Miller for that matter as well.
No, I agree on those takes. And, you don't necessarily need to be tall to be a good inside linebacker. You want the sturdiness. I mean, look at Zach Thomas. He was no super tall guy, and he's all career. So but he is a sturdy guy. So you want the sturdy guys, but they can get the job done at that position because it adds a little more quickness to the game. And if they having good anticipation, they can. It's not like right there, like the defensive tackles. You need that huge size. If they get the defensive tackles doing their job, they can fill those gaps and or go into coverage and do their job. So
exactly
as concerned about it, of course. You always want everyone to be the big stud, strong guys that don't get hurt. But I think those are positions that I think we're going to be okay at.
Kenna, thank you for joining us tonight. Kenna, you're welcome to join. Our producer tonight is Evan Posner, and he dropped the link. So you're welcome to join us if you have any questions or you want to make some comments on how you see the team going this year, or how you feel about the draft picks, anything, please join us. We welcome you to join us tonight, Kenna. Thanks for joining us.
So, guys, do you think the Miami Heat doing a lot of winning and the Florida Panthers doing a lot of winning, does that put extra pressure on the Dolphins? I know people from the Dolphins organization are saying the proper things. Oh, yeah, we're really proud of them, and it's good. We're rooting for them. McDaniel was at the Miami Heat game the other night, waving his little Heat thing, so that was cool. But it has to put – I know if I'm Ross, the billionaire owners that's giving this team everything I could possibly give them, I'm looking at my guys saying, okay, when's our time, guys? Get to winning. Because it's nice being fan, dancing in the play, dancing in off season while these other teams are doing great things in the community and winning. Come on, Dolphins, get out there. You are still South Florida's team in my book. You're always the number one team in South Florida for me. So get out there, win like the Panthers, and I hope the Panthers win. I hope the Heat close it out tonight. But Dolphins are always my number one, as Steve likes to say, and that's the team I would like to see because I can't imagine. It's just been fun seeing the Heat and them doing well. But it would just be so much more. It'd be unexplainable the feeling walking around South Florida, the Miami Dolphins ever got to that level. Because, like I said, I walked into a place the other day and I had a Miami Dolphins shirt, but people were saying, man, how about them Panthers? How about, because it was just a sub shop where a lot of the guys were talking sports and stuff. And everyone's like so riled up about our teams doing well. I was just thinking, can you imagine if the Dolphins were like approaching the AFC Championship game? What the buzz would be like around the Dolphins. It would be like something I haven't felt since I was a kid in the 80s when we went to the Super Bowl. So hopefully we get that back, Steve. But I do think it puts a little extra pressure. When all the teams are winning in your area, well, not so much in Maryland, but the Panthers and the Heat, they're winning. It does put a little extra pressure on the Dolphins now to go out there and win.
Well, hell, it should. I mean, it should light a fire under those players, But yeah, and it's nice to see the Florida Panthers, the hockey team. I think they're leading 3-0 in their game as well. I'm not a big hockey guy, but it's nice to see a Florida team. Two Florida teams, the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers. Lighting fire down there in Miami. So that's good for the community. And like you said, Rob, I hope this lights a fire under the Miami Dolphins team. Me too.
Albert,
they start making things happen.
Taste. Yeah, Albert has great taste in football and baseball. I see the hockey and the basketball, not so much. But Albert, you can see I'm a Red Sox fan, and I grew up a Red Sox fan. I was born down here in South Florida because there was no team when I was a kid. So I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. So I understand. That's it, man. So Albert, we would be talking great during football and baseball season. So that'd be awesome.
Albert, where in New Jersey are you from? What part? Where do you live in New Jersey? I've been to New Jersey when I was in the military. I did a lot of training up there, and Fort Dix, Brunswick area, I believe it was. Is it called New Brunswick or Brunswick? I don't remember. Plainfield. Okay.
Yeah. See, that's good. I like Albert. I mean, that's a weird combination, like Dolphins and Red Sox. And I was like, there's so many Dolphins and Yankee fans combination, but very
New
few.
Brunswick. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time up there, New Brunswick. It's a nice little town, nice little quaint little town. Has some nice little eateries in the town and everything. I enjoyed it a lot. But thanks for joining us tonight, Albert. I don't think I've seen you here before. I appreciate it. If you'd like, subscribe. And again, you're welcome to join us tonight. We've dropped the link, so if you have any comments or anything you'd like to ask us, please do.
I'm pretty
Has
sure.
So. Okay.
I don't remember. I didn't know. I learned that he's a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
I knew he was a Dolphins fan. So hey, I like that. So, yes, and it should be extra motivation for the team.
Absolutely.
Moss or
absolutely. It should be motivation for the team.
Sorry.
But
I don't have my glasses.
That's fine.
Nass. Yeah, but I see.
But getting back to the training camp, Omar Kelly, for those of you that would like a good read, go ahead and read his article. Omar Kelly. He used to be a beat writer for Miami. I think he's with the Sports Illustrated now, if I'm not mistaken. Plus, I think he has another show with Brandon Marshall. He has another show that he also is manages or produces. But anyway, he had a good article about the practices, and I'll just start with the quarterbacks. Basically, and I'm just quoting. These are not exact quotes, but he was saying that the quarterbacks didn't really look well today. They didn't play very well, and the worst one of all was Mike White, our newly acquired backup quarterback, or supposedly backup quarterback. Skyler actually played a little better than he did, and Tua played just okay. Nothing to hem-haw about. But hey, it's OTAs. You know, the guys are out there. You know, it's going to be a lot different when they start putting on the pads and playing the preseason games. So I'm not all I'm not as into the OTAs as I am minicamp, which I think has more meaning than OTAs.
It does. These OTAs just give you the first crack at seeing them again after a long time without seeing any Dolphins out there on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's cool seeing it. But yeah, I'm not going to look and overanalyze every perfectly thrown ball that they hit in stride. I'm not going to overanalyze the passes he missed because it's just crazy. Twitter and other social media outlets love to blow up a bad throw by Tua. And then the other side loves to throw the perfect throw. Me, I'm like, it's just getting their timing out. A lot of them haven't even played football. They've been working out, but they haven't done football for months at this point. So you're going to come out there a little rusty. So I just don't look, just to get to those bugs out now before the main camps start. Get loosened up, get ready to play football again. And, I don't read too much, but it is good to see. I'm happy they do them because it gives us something to talk about and look. And I'm writing an article over my website, my blog on DolphinsThirsty.com. Hopefully later tonight it'll be done. So, it gives us something to talk about finally after months of kind of quietness or weeks of quietness since the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Casual Dolphin says Omar is no longer with I think it was I Am Athlete, but yeah. Thank you for that. I didn't know that he's no longer with him, but I like Omar Kelly. He makes a lot of good points. Usually he's pretty fair, and I enjoy reading him. As along with Barry Jackson, I like Barry Jackson as well.
Yeah, Barry Jackson had some good stuff today too.
Yeah, what did he have to say, Rob? Anything?
He said A-Chain was one of the stars. Braxton Berrios was one of the stars.
Right. Yeah.
And EZ actually had some good action today. And Cedric Wilson, a name that we've all been wanting to trade off. They say he did well. He pointed out a lot of that they really looked like they were having a good practice. Again, keep in mind it's in shorts and no shoulder pads and all that. But it's just, they did have the helmets and stuff, but other than that, so it's good to get some feedback.
Oh, Jason Sanders took a snap. Well, that's good. Hopefully he made it. He made the field goal.
He said took a nap.
I thought he said snap. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. That's funny. So, he took a nap. Okay. Well, I hope he had a good nap. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, like I say, it's good to have them out there doing stuff. But I'm not like you 100%. I'm not going to look one way or the other too much into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. now A-Chain, I know Omar said A-Chain, he looked very explosive out there. He looked good. He made some good plays for a rookie guy, and but again, we'll see when he puts on the pads. See, I know I learned something about Jalen Waddle that I didn't know. This is something interesting. His sisters were watching a football game, and I was watching a show where they had a segment there where his sisters were watching the game, and people were calling him Jalen Waddle, and his sisters said, "No, his name is not Jalen Waddle. His name is Jalen Waddell or Wardell. It's Wardell. His stage name is Jalen Waddle." So I didn't know that. Hey, what do I know? But that was interesting that they said that. Just a little FYI for you guys. So now you know it's not Waddle, it's Wardell.
Yeah, but it's definitely Waddle for his marketing and everything. He likes the Waddle. He does the Waddle and everything. That would kind of throw that whole thing out the window, his whole little dance, if you go with that,
Exactly.
Hey, just join us if Evan drops the link again there. But it's up there somewhere. But anyway, so that's all good stuff though. But you told me that when I was saying, I go, what's he talking about when you told me? You're not saying his name right. I'm like, well, I've only been saying that for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm. What is Albert said? Albert says, I've been thinking, and I like Skylar Thompson a lot, but do South Floridians think that James Blackman has more of an upside? What have you guys heard? Honestly, Albert, personally, I don't know anything about James Blackman. In my opinion, I think he's just a camp body. He's in there just as a camp body, but I will say this. I believe that Skylar Thompson has more of an upside than Mike White. That's just my opinion. I said this when they acquired Mike White. I felt that Skylar Thompson would beat out Mike White. And if we go by the practice today, again, take it for what it is. It's OTAs. It's still early. Actually, Skylar Thompson had the edge on Mike White today for sure. So hopefully, I like Skylar Thompson. I do. He's got experience. He's got playoff experience, right? I mean, he's got some games under his belt now. He was thrown into the fire, so I like him.
Nope, for sure. And guys, make sure you like and subscribe, and tell a friend and tell their friends and their neighbors.
Now, I don't see Skylar Thompson as he could develop into a starting quarterback, but I think he's at the position that he's at right now is good as a backup. I think he makes a good backup for Tua, or if he moves on to another team, I think he'd make a good backup for any other team as well. So he's got an upside to him.
Yeah, I know. He played decent last year when given the opportunity in the situation. So
exactly.
We will see moving forward. Hopefully, we don't need to see what the backup quarterback looks like this year.
Well, I hopefully they have a plan B, and I think Mike White was the plan B, or Skylar, one of those two. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So there's your OTAs. Now I think how many more OTAs do they have? Do you know, Rob?
Not exactly how I know, but I know they. No, I don't. I don't know exactly.
Does anybody in the chat, do they know how many
Yeah,
more
that's one way to bring in someone to know.
OTAs they have are remaining? Because I'm not sure. Because today was their first one, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, this week, I mean, they were
3.
out there.
Albert says 3. That's what I thought. Yeah, 3. Okay. So they got 3 remaining. Cool. Very good. Again, I don't make much of the OTAs. I mean, you got to take it for what it's worth. So what do you guys think? You guys that are in the chat, Aladino, what's your opinion? How do you see, what do you think about the Miami Dolphins this year? What was your take on the draft? You're welcome to join in if you'd like. We've dropped the link. You're welcome to join in and ask questions, make your points, whatever you want to do, guys. This is your night.
Until someone comes in, what do you think about Van Ginkel getting some snaps at inside linebacker? Do you think that's like something that they could look to, or is this just something they're playing around with?
No, I think it's something they're seriously looking into because now again, based on OTAs and what Omar Kelly had said, and some of the sources that were actually at the practices that I saw this show and I told you they were talking about it, about the OTAs. Channing Tindall's he's just been left out in the dust. He's just not catching on, So right. I think that's not good for him that Van Ginkel is playing in the inside like that. Also, I think by the time training camp starts, actual training camp, I think they're going to bring in a couple more veteran linebackers. I don't think that linebacker position is settled yet. Yeah, it's not settled yet for sure. But Van Ginkel is a good now. It's good for Van Ginkel because Vic Fangio is the guy that wanted him back. Brought him back.
It seems like Fangio looked at the film and then decided, hey, this guy is someone we want, because I was assuming, and that's going to be mentioned in my blog I'm writing for Dolphins Thirsty, that everyone was assuming, me included, that he was going to leave for a bigger contract and more playing opportunity with another team. So I was pleasantly surprised when the Dolphins re-upped him, because I thought he did well last year. He got his number of plays, snap count got taken away. After he signed for
exactly.
So he didn't get as much action. But when he was in there, he normally plays well. I thought he was kind of low. So I thought for sure a team was going to snatch him up and take him from us with a bigger payday.
Well, he had 5 teams that were interested in him that he had a choice to go to. And when he's in there, the Dolphins defense plays pretty good when he's in there. I know he's kind of an unknown, but he's a guy that to me, he seems to be around the ball a lot. He's always making these.
That's about the same. That's all right. I didn't mean to cut you off, but he's chiming in. That's more or less where I became in that time frame. I missed, like Steve, you were lucky enough to remember the Super Bowl years. I came in a little after the Super Bowl years. Remember the Super Bowl losses, of the 80s. But that's where he's so he's right in there in that range, like me, the AJ Dewey and the David Woodley and all that era and that good stuff, So the end of Bob Greasy's reign, right there at the end of Bob Greasy's good years and stuff. So that's where he falls in. Hey, Anthony, the link's been out there. If you want to join us, Anthony, the link is out there. So, but as always, of course, Anthony, welcome. But so that's why I don't know. That's where I've been a fan. Aladino got me thinking of the old days of AJ Dewey and
me too, man.
Games that I did get to see and remember. I remember because those are my best games, AFC Championship games, when we beat the Jets to get to the one Super Bowl, and then we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers to get to the 49ers Super Bowl where we lost, and then we lost, of course, to the back then Redskins. That's what they were called. So don't yell at me, people. That's what they were. Redskins back then. I'm not going to call them the Commanders back then. If we played them in a future Super Bowl, that's what they would be. And then, but those were the good days for me. And I got to see Dan Marino every single time. I had season tickets during those years, so I got to see most of his games in person, and then all the other ones on TV. So I did have some spoils as a Dolphin, which my sons had not had, because my oldest son is 20. He'd be 21 in November, and he hasn't seen a playoff win. Not a playoff win, not a Super Bowl, not anything. I'm talking a playoff win he has not seen, and only a few playoff appearances during that whole 20 years. So it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, actually, that our franchise has fallen that hard over the years. But still root for them. They will always be my team, no matter what. I always say they're my team, even though they make me scream. And I'm not talking a good kind of scream. It's like stub my toe kind of scream, but they're my team no matter what. And no matter who the coach, general manager, from owners, I've been down 3 owners. I can't even count the number of coaches anymore, general managers, quarterbacks. It's just, you lose track at some point, but no matter what, they're my team, and I'm happy to see there are other people like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been a fan since 1969. So I had season tickets. Well, I didn't, but my stepdad had season tickets to all the Miami Dolphins games from 1970, and he had them all the way up to 78 or 79.
Yes, Anthony.
I kind of went into the military in 78, the first enlistment. So I kind of lost track of the Dolphins. I was still a fan, but I didn't really watch them as much.
No, of course,
as I used to. But yeah, so I was there at the old Orange Bowl and got to see Greasy and Zonka and Larry Little, and I met a lot of those guys because back then the airports didn't have the TSA and all that kind of stuff. So whenever the Dolphins would come back from their away games, I was able to go to the airport, and I was able to just go right up to them and shake their hands and things like that.
Oh no, it was a lot different.
Yeah, it's a lot different back then. Now you can't even get near them.
When you would go to training camp back then, you could actually walk up to the locker room. You couldn't go in the locker room. I'm not going to say it was accurate, but you could go right to the door, and the players would come out, talk to you, and this is way back when it was in Miami Lakes, and I would talk to Shula, God rest his soul. I would talk to Shula a lot back then, and I got a couple players. Now I'd be like, I don't want that. But like a couple players would toss me their sweaty wristbands coming off the practice field. Vince Heflin did it one time, and Vince Heflin wasn't even a huge star with us, but I just always thought it was the coolest thing.
He's still a professional football player, right?
Yeah,
He's still on the team. He's a Dolphin.
It's cool, man. But times have changed, which is understandable because crazy people would do all kinds of things to these guys nowadays, so they have to protect them, and I understand why. But it's just amazing the difference, just a few decades, maybe a couple of decades different. Because I could actually, after the Miami Dolphins practice when they were at St. Thomas, I used to be, because my mom, and she's still alive, God bless her, God bless her heart. She used to take me to Dolphins practice. I'm sure she was bored out, but she knew I loved it. And we could, after they were done, they would let us go out there and we could play. Me and my friends used to play on the football field. They just vacated. Nowadays, you'd be, taken down in handcuffs and thrown if you try to hop out on the field after the Dolphins practice.
Exactly. You remember when the Dolphins got the artificial turf in the Orange Bowl? You were probably just a little kid then, right?
That?
Remember when the Dolphins they got the artificial turf in the Orange Bowl?
Oh yeah, I was really little.
That was that was
stupid plan.
Oh my God, it was such a big thing back then. But I got to actually go on the field when they put it down and everything. Before the game, I was able to go and actually touch that stuff and kind of run on the field a little bit. I don't know. I don't remember how, but I must have been at that time, I think 11 maybe. And I was running on that field and stuff, and I was just having a great old time. But you know what I remember about that artificial turf? It felt like concrete.
Yeah. No, that's why I know. That's why
it felt like concrete.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Anthony. I mean, oh my God, Evan, can you throw the question up there? Let's see about Favor, underrated player. I know he's not super underrated. But a guy to me that doesn't get talked enough about, and Evan knows about what's to come out of my name, is AJ Dewey. Some people do talk about him because he had the one famous game where he had the 3 interceptions against the New York Jets in the mud against Richard Todd. That day felt like AJ Dewey was a Jet. He threw to him 3 times. One of them was a pick 6, and the Dolphins won 14-0 and got to the Super Bowl. So I feel like AJ Dewey's a guy that forgets. And Bob Buzinski's another guy that gets forgotten in the Dolphins history. So there's a few guys out there that gets forgotten, but then there's of course lesser names that really get forgotten. But those guys are ones that I think don't really get talked.
Oh, he froze up on us. That's okay. Anthony Mansano, this is your chance to join. The link has been dropped. So if you want to join and come on and ask questions or make any comments, please do.
Sorry, I dropped out for a minute.
That's all right. That's all right, Rob.
Yeah. But anyway, so those are some of the players I think. Here, all right, Anthony. Join on in, Anthony. But yeah, those are guys I think are like missed. And then he had another, always associate the Orange Bowl with the Hurricane, but it seems like your guys' generation always associate the Orange Bowl with the Dolphins. Well, because we saw games in both, and the best games I've ever been to were Dolphin games in the Orange Bowl, So it's just like, because like that Chicago Bears Monday Night Football game, and that Orange Bowl was rocking with the Dolphins.
Oh my God, I was there. Yeah, I was there at that game too.
Yeah, but I do. I'm not a, because my son goes to University of Florida. I'm not a diehard like Canes fan, but I was at the first ever Miami Hurricanes championship game when they beat Nebraska when Howard Snellenberger was the coach. I was at that game. And so I was there for the very first when, it was like weird, crazy that beat Nebraska, came down to a failed 2-point conversion that Miami stopped at the end.
It was back in those days. It was Nebraska, Oklahoma.
No, that was and then Hurricanes changed that.
Hurricanes changed it.
Now the Hurricanes are on, under the gun. They're, they got to win. They're kind of like in the same situation as the Dolphins. They got a new coach last year. They haven't done a lot of winning, so now he's going to have the pressure.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Anthony, we've dropped the link.
It's there.
It's there, Anthony.
Bye, Baltimore. Yeah. So, hey, that's like the Bo Jackson, man. It's like the one that ran over. I remember.
Was it Bo Jackson?
Yeah, but he ran him over. That's when in the pros. Though when I was talking about when it was like a game when Brian Bosworth had a short-lived career and with the Seahawks and Bo.
He was a bust.
Yeah, I know. And Bo Jackson was, there. Unfortunately, Bo Jackson had a short-lived career too due to injury.
He did.
Of course,
and
whatever. Yeah. And I know Bosworth had injury issues too, but
he did.
I don't want to say. I think I know reasons why he was so big and bulky, but I won't say because I don't know. But well,
just like, I'll tell you, he was on steroids for sure.
Yeah, allegedly.
There's no question about that.
I know, so that's for sure. So. It's right there above Finn's talk with Bobby. Find there, Anthony. Finn's talk with Bobby is the link.
I think I told you, Rob, but I will be going to the preseason game here in Houston, Texas, when they play the Houston Texans.
So that's going to be cool. I know it's preseason, but it's still your Dolphins. You're going to get some family involved for the first time that hasn't seen a game.
Yeah, well, my son's been to a couple games, but my grandkids will be their first indoctrination to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Hey, no, that's great, man.
So it should be a fun time, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I cut and paste for you, Anthony. You should see the link now. But yeah, that's been good. That's going to be something that.
Hey, fellas, how are you today?
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony, how are you?
Oh, hey, did you see it's weird. My generation associates the Orange Bowl with the Hurricanes, but it seems like your generation, Steve, always associates it with the Dolphins first, then the Hurricanes. Why is there such a disconnect with generations? The generation of football fans for the Dolphins that the Orange Bowl era specifically, that my generation and the people from the early 80s always associate it with the Hurricanes, not the Dolphins. Why is that?
The main reason is that the Hurricanes stayed in the Orange Bowl after the Dolphins left. They didn't come over right away. So that's when the Hurricanes had some of their best years. And, that's why the younger fans remember that, because like the Dolphins went over at the time, it was Joe Robbie Stadium, Dolphin Stadium, Sun Life Stadium, all the, every name that you can think of.
Jesus, how many names has Dolphin Stadium had? Seriously.
I know. That's just off the top of my head.
At least 4.
Yeah. They were basically. I know
And
there
I
was
was talking to a friend of mine actually, and we were talking. We were talking about sports in general. Yeah. We were talking about sports in general, and actually, and what we noticed with specifically with baseball and football, that there's a lot of teams named after animals. Have you noticed that, Steve? Like,
yeah. There's
Dolphins. I understand why the Cardinals, Arizona, the Broncos, Bengals.
Oh yeah, I mean there's Bears. I mean there's Lions.
The Seahawks. But there's teams that have an animal as their mascot, but they're not named after the animal though. I think the Chargers is a Thunderbird, like a bird, and stuff like that. That the Lightning.
Then you got Cleveland Browns, the Dog Pound.
Yeah. That's another.
Yeah. Well, Steve, as an older, as being that you guys are older fans, what was your favorite rivalry back in the '80s for the Dolphins?
Oh, the Jets for me.
In the '80s.
Sure. The '80s was the Jets, man. Those shootouts with the Jets that they would have. It's like no defense
with
whatsoever.
Ken O'Brien.
Yeah, it was like.
Was
crazy.
That Ken O'Brien?
Yeah, and oh my
or was
God.
that Vinny Testaverde?
No, O'Brien back then.
O'Brien.
That was like Testaverde. O'Brien. But he Marino was a much better quarterback. But in the games against the Dolphins, it would just be both of them look like Hall of Fame quarterbacks out there.
A lot of people say the games against the Cowboys were crazy too. When we used to play the Cowboys all the time in the
and the Raiders. We used to play against the Raiders in the '70s. They were called the Oakland Raiders back then. The Raiders were they were a tough team.
Well, they were
Browns a big rival for us in the '80s? Or the Bengals
in the '80s?
The Bengals with Kenny Anderson.
They weren't a big rival.
I'm telling you, the Jets were the one that drove me.
The Jets were the big
our division, but Wesley Walker on the Jets used to. kill us.
He used to kill us all the time. Wesley Walker.
Were you a big fan of Ken Anderson, Steve, by chance?
No,
Kenny Anderson.
No, I was a fan of whoever played on the Dolphins. That's who I was a fan of.
No, like as a general football fan, did you have a favorite quarterback that wasn't on the Dolphins?
Oof. Oh man, no man.
That's how I roll.
As a kid, I was biased. I was.
No, as you got older. As you got older.
You know what? And there's one thing I can tell you too. In 1972, I told everybody every game the Dolphins weren't going to win, and they won.
Hey, Cap.
So they went 17-0.
And in the chat I said, you guys read my comment before that where I said, and people wonder why I cheer for guys like Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning most of my life when the quarterback position has been horrible until recently, decent for the Dolphins and stuff like that. And people wonder why I started cheering for Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning and stuff like that. We had horrible. By the time I became a Dolphins fan, Marino was on his last legs. Like I became a Dolphins fan around late 97. Was that his retirement year? Did Marino retire in 97 or 99? What year did he retire?
Yeah, 99. Yeah, 99.
Yeah, but he was still on his last legs.
Yeah, no.
When you look at it,
on his last leg, but that was the year. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
And
Alan Dino reminded me. Joe Montana. Yeah, definitely. Joe Montana was probably one of the
I thought of him too, but like I said,
liked.
He beat us in a Super Bowl, so I can't put him too high.
Yeah, he beat Marino. Marino.
Were you a big fan of Kenny Stabler?
Yeah, I like Kenny Stabler, lefty. Yeah, I liked Kenny Stabler. There was a lot of quarterbacks.
He was to me, he was the original Snake, not Jake Plummer.
Yeah, that's true. But there was a lot of good quarterbacks back in the day. Now that I think about it, and you know what, I think quarterbacks back in the day, man, they had a tough time. It wasn't as
they would get beat up.
They get beat up, and now I'm just talking about making throws. It was tough to make a throw back in the 70s. You had to bump and run. You had I mean, it was a lot. The game was a lot more physical. Receivers were getting bumped, getting thrown on the ground, and playing a lot of man-to-man and stuff. So it was tough for quarterback. If you had a 55% quarterback percentage,
that was elite.
That was elite. Yeah, that was elite quarterback back in the day. Now it's 65, 70. 70s are elite, 70, 75, 65, 64. That's average nowadays, So
no, times have changed for sure.
It's changed a lot. Yeah.
And that's why Marino's numbers were so great, but now he's behind all these guys career-wise because time changed and rules got helped to improve.
Yeah, exactly.
But Anthony does have a good point, like how many names. Like off the top of my head, I remember Joe Robbie Stadium. They actually call it Dolphin Stadium for a short. But then there was Pro Player, Land Shark, and of course now this Hard Rock. And then I'm probably it's been so many different names. And am I forgetting one? Land Shark, Pro Player, Dolphin Stadium, Joe Robbie Stadium, and I don't know. It's been so many names. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But all of that in common, like no damn playoff wins really. Except for like the one that they beat Joe Montana when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So
hey Rob, I see we got some more folks that join us. We got Cap for Life. G-Man has joined us. Who else has joined us? I saw a couple other. Well,
Ender.
Ender. Yeah, Ender's in the house.
Was somewhere.
Hey guys, I'm going to let you know now. If you weren't here earlier, you didn't hear me saying it earlier. You guys are welcome to join us tonight. We dropped the link, and if our producer would drop the link again so these guys can see it. We appreciate you come in, ask us questions, or you have something you want to talk about, anything pertaining to Dolphins, or hey, even the Heat, even the Heat or the Panthers. You're welcome to join us tonight. Tonight is the show for you guys. So we appreciate you for joining. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends, your families, and your neighbors.
And Cap, I know you watch all the sports down here. So are the Heat and the Panthers putting more pressure on the Miami Dolphins to win? Because both of those teams are playing above expectations for what they had going to the playoffs. The Dolphins have played under expectation in recent years. So it's this year like the Dolphins finally, yes, I know they say all the nice things. McDaniel, as I said, just going to be a repeat. McDaniel was at the Heat game the other night. He was having fun, but it has to be like also extra pressure to win and show that, hey, the Dolphins are still the sports team here in South Florida. Let's control this market because the Dolphins are going to fall way behind if, they don't start getting some playoff wins, because both of these teams, at the very least, it looks like, I don't want to jinx it yet because they haven't officially closed anything out yet, but it looks like they're both going to be going to the finals of their respective sports. So it's like, come on, Dolphins, step up and play. So, Cap, do you agree there's a little extra pressure or they don't care about the teams winning? I think that adds a little extra pressure. So, to me.
Come on in, Cap. We dropped the link, brother. We'd like to hear from you, man.
G-Man. So, G-Man, he's our resident Heat fan that always comes into all of our chats. He loves it here. So, but he's also a big Dolphin fan, but he's a lot more cheerful on the Heat because they win.
He said he was going to share the show with his, I think he said his wife and daughter. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
appreciate it, man. Appreciate you joining us tonight, G-Man. Always good to have you.
Anyway, yeah, so the Dolphins better win. I mean, it might be but to me, unfortunately, South Florida is a winning town. South Floridians go out for a winning team. If the Heat stinks in a couple years, they won't have the people anymore. It's just how they roll. Because like a few years ago when the Marlins were going in really good, when Huizinga spent a lot of money, they finally got some people out there, and they had to when it was still at the stadium with 1,000 names before they moved into their baseball stadium. So Miami will show up for a winner. So right now, yes, I would say it's in a Panthers town and a Heat town because they're winning. Because now I actually drive around and I see Panthers banners flying around in the neighborhoods and people having their little flags on the car driving around with Heat and Panthers. So it's all about winning. If you win, they're going to love you in this town. If they don't,
good evening, Daniel. Thanks for joining, brother.
Hey, Daniel. So basically, it's a winning town. So right now, yes, it looks more like a Heat town or a Panthers town just because they're winning. If Miami Dolphins start winning again, it would easily become a Dolphins town because I think at heart, people still love the Dolphins here the most because, I mean, they can pack 60,000. They have sellout for the past couple of years for all the season tickets. They're just so hungry for them to win, and then they get disappointed when they don't. So I still think it's the makings of a Dolphin town, but they need to win to get South Floridians really on the bandwagon flying their Dolphin flags around.
Let me ask you this, Rob.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned season ticket holders. We sold out season tickets last year, correct?
Yeah, and this year. You're on a waiting list. If you want season tickets, you got to get on a waiting list.
So let me ask you this. How many of those season ticket holders actually go to the games? Are the games packed?
That's the big debate because every time the Jets or the Bills, they end up selling probably and just make – because some of those games, if they have good seats, they can almost get like half their money back for the season. And it's like they finance their tickets that way. But unfortunately, when they sell it, it's open to whoever wants to buy. And, you know, Jet fans and Bill fans and God knows Cowboy fans are going to come. And Josh Wingate, you're not welcome if you come to South Florida for the, you know, if we get enough Cowboy fans coming, it's going to be like, you know, I mean, sometimes I've been to Dolphins and Bills games and Jets games where I think, did I make a wrong turn and am I in the Meadowlands or am I in Orchard Park? You know, I'm like, good God, it's like, you know, it's crazy. But with that said, though, there's someone still buying tickets for the Miami Dolphins, and I still think it's diehard fans, but I think some of them flip their tickets because they're like, man, I can get triple the face value, which kind of gets my money back. I was sitting at home and watching my high definition TV and get my money back for, say, for the playoff tickets or whatever. So that happens a lot, unfortunately. I wish it was like some rule you had to sell to Dolphin fans, but, you know, obviously you can't. I know it's funny. The Florida Panthers, it was a big article, and then some people in Boston were complaining because it's so hard to get Bruins tickets. So the Bruin fans were coming down here, and it's almost cheaper to fly down here, get a hotel, and buy tickets here. And then, you know, but somehow the Panthers were put in a block. They would only sell it to local people. And then people are saying, that's not fair. You know, that's discrimination. But, you know, hey, you got to protect your local fans to have their chance to get in there. So that was good. And, you know, like I say, and baseball is so funny. I love the Red Sox. But in the hockey, of course, I want the Panthers. In basketball, I want the Heat. So it's funny because I'm two things I follow on Twitter: Miami Dolphins and the Boston Red Sox. So I see a lot of Red Sox, but most of them, of course, are Celtics and Bruins. So they're complaining, wow, these Miami teams, you know, they're just come late. I go, really, the Heat's won more championships recently than the Celtics, not historically, of course. It's funny.
Let me answer this question, Daniel. It's OTAs. Keep that in mind. Okay. He didn't put on a clinic. He had 2 or 3 good plays. I think one was a 25-yard pass that he caught from Tua down the sideline, and he tight-roped it, you know, to keep going on down the sideline. But nothing great. Just he was impressive for a rookie with no pads. And
Debbie Downer. He did really well. Barry Jackson called him the star of the day.
Okay. Sam Aquavon. Listen, Sam Aquavon. Remember him? Sam Aquavon.
Yes,
what's his name?
Yeah, he was
remember him? He always played great in practice.
Yes, we already put the disclaimer out. It's
so
only
all
OTAs.
I'm saying,
yes,
I know that's what I'm saying. All it is OTAs.
But then don't go knocking the quarterbacks and saying the quarterbacks didn't do well. It's only OTAs. So
it is. I'm just saying they didn't do
for OTAs. Everyone I'm reading is saying he did well. We weren't out there to see him.
No, I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't do bad. I'm just saying I'm not going to make a big thing about it.
I'm not going to make a big thing, but to say he didn't do well, you know,
he did okay. He did okay.
But then you can't say anyone did bad or poor then because it's it's just OTA. So we leave it at that.
True.
But by what we have to judge off,
I'm just letting you know what happened. What I heard from 2 or 3 guys that went actually to the practice and watched them practice.
Well, I know of
and I'll tell you another thing.
Pointing him out for being the star today.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing. Who was that brought that comment up? Was that Daniel? Daniel that brought that comment up about A-Chain? Yeah, Daniel. Read Omar Kelly's article about the OTAs.
Barry Jackson's article.
Both of them. Read both of them, and then you make that determination for yourself whether he had a good day or just
based
an
on
okay
OTAs,
day.
he has a good day. But we both agree that OTAs aren't that critical. It doesn't matter until the first regular season game that
for
they
sure. And I made that comment at the beginning of the show. It just I don't make too much of
good things. I would rather be reading good things about him though than bad things.
And I'm happy for the guy
out there.
Yeah,
he looked lower than we thought. Oh, he's dropping everything, but at least he's doing well.
Yeah. Now, disappointing if you want.
You know, I'm off the chain for A-Chain, so you just hit the one guy.
I like A-Chain. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to go get all hyped about the guy and then be disappointed in the regular season.
Oh, no,
I've done that too many times.
That. I'm just saying based on,
Channing Tindall. You want to know somebody that had a bad OTA today? Channing Tindall. Channing Tindall was lost. He just wasn't. He just doesn't seem like he's fitting into the system.
What other people say, but just like we were saying on the
eyes on the ground. I wasn't there. I'm only basing it on eyes on the ground.
Like all of us, because they're only limited on what they can say and not say. But yes, I did.
These were not. This was not beat writers. These were not beat writers that were making the comments.
I know. These were folks widely reported that Tyndall did not do well today. So
there you go.
But again, though, we can flip it around. It's just OTAs, and it's different.
No, I agree, Rob. I agree 100%.
We will see. That's all I'm saying. It's just I'm off the chain for A-Chain. That's like I say.
I know really you are.
He was one of my. I wrote about him before he was actually even drafted by the Miami Dolphins. He was on my Dolphins Thirsty. He was posted up there.
I remember seeing that. Yep.
He was one of the top-rated running backs.
And I'm going to tell you all right now. I'm going to tell you all right now. I really do think that A-Chain is going to make a difference in the offense. I think he's going to get some playing time, and I think and here's why I make a good comment about him. Okay, he is a very good receiver. He was even playing wide receiver. He's really good at he's versatile. Let's put it that way.
No, he's good. He's going to be a threat. He can
line up as a receiver. He's going to be a
slot. He's going to give teams nightmare. But I'm not basing that on OTAs. I'm basing that on something, again, that you shouldn't really because some people look great in college, and then it doesn't translate to the pros. But
I agree.
In college, he looked like he was blowing past people.
he ran between the tackles, bouncing off people and stuff. And I was looking at a picture of him. I will say this. Excuse me. He looks sturdy for a little guy. He's thick. He looks really sturdy, and in fact, he has gained weight. From what I read, reports that he has gained some weight. I think he's up to like 192 or something like that, from 185 to 192. So he's gained a little weight. So, and for that matter, Jalen Waddle's gained weight too this year.
Yeah, that's good. So it's good stuff. They're working out. They want to be a little stronger so they don't get bumped,
pushed around. Yeah,
because starting with the 49er game, it started getting, they were taking those away a little bit more, those quick hitting routes. And, so it'd be good if Waddle can start getting past that and, do well. But he's really good. Tyreek Hill, those are the two least of our problems. So let's just get out there and start winning, right? Steve, just do what the Panthers and the Heat are doing, winning.
Absolutely, man. The Panthers are on fire. I mean, the Panthers are putting people on ice down there in South Florida, and the Heat are burning people up.
Yeah, it's funny because the only team in baseball history, and it's never been done in basketball, but it has been done in hockey when a team's down 3 games to none in the best of a 7 that they've come back. It's happened in hockey, but never in basketball, and it never happened in baseball until my Red Sox did it to the dreaded Yankees, and I love it. But anyway, that's another thing that would give me goosebumps forever. But now Celtics are using the same quotes because some of them are Boston fans, so they're using, we're going to shock the world, and you better not let us have one. You better not let us have one because then, so they're talking the smack thinking that they're going to pull some Boston baseball magic and come to the basketball side and come back and win 4 games. So I don't want to jinx that because I have seen miracles happen, but it's looking like it's going to be Miami Heat, Panthers making their respective finals. So when's the Dolphins going to make the Super Bowl? That's a big question. That's what the Dolphins. That's
the question.
The bar's been set. The bar's been set, and it's very high. The Dolphins have to leap over a high bar now because the other 2 teams. I mean, I don't forget the Marlins, of course, but they're not setting the bar very high. So the Dolphins can go on that bar, but the Heat and the Panther, they're not, they got a high bar that they've set now. So the Dolphins have a lot of leaping to do if they want to outperform what these two teams have done.
Right.
So
right.
It's about time.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Rob, with that said, I think we're going to call it a night. And
sounds good. Fins up, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. You guys are great for being in here. You guys are super. Always fins up. Dolphins #1. All that good stuff. And enjoy the rest of your night. And thank you so much. And Dolphins do rock. Thank you.
Yes. Again, thank you guys. And remember, Dolphins number one, baby. Dolphins number one.
Bye, guys.